Hello, everybody. Welcome to 1 Point League. This is a 1.8 esports event in Minecraft, the first ever Minecraft esports event. And today we are going to be looking at our Deathmatch qualifier. So, Deathmatch is a brand new game that we developed in house, and it is basically a PvP spleef slash sumo type game with building and breaking blocks and a bunch of mechanics, and it's going to be really interesting because nobody's played this game before. However, we did just have our ladder stage, so teams have had a chance to get a little bit familiar with the mechanics of the game and how it works. So now we're going to go to our bracket stage where teams are going to face elimination and see who is going to qualify for our final bracket later this month. So if we are ready to look at the teams of our first match.
All right, it looks like our first match is going to be Team Drizzy versus Team Tanker Noob. So on Team Drizzy D, we have Aventre, Knock Rosma, Argona, Exotic Red Nugget, and that's it. And then once again, I apologize if I pronounce any names wrong. I'm just doing my best here. But yeah, that is going to be Team Drizzy D for this event. Earlier today, they were playing in the ladder bracket to determine their standings, which is how they got into the top four. And they went a perfect 7-0 in that bracket. So really good by them. But our next team is going to be Tanker Noob. And the players for that are going to be Issue, Protocolist, Tankerson. Issue, Protocolist, Tankerson, Graphail, and I'm Trovertly. Once again, I apologize if I got any names wrong, but that is the roster of Tanker Noob. Now, during the ladder bracket, they went 2-1. Obviously not perfect, but still pretty good. However, keep in mind, that's only 3 games compared to 7 games played by Drizzy D, which could be a huge advantage for Drizzy D because, once again, this is a never before played game, so any experience you can have is going to be really helpful.
Yeah, so now it's going to be time in just a second here to have these two teams face off and see who is going to come out on top in our deathmatch game mode. But yeah, as you said, Drizzy D has played those 7 games and won all 7 of them, meaning they're probably in a really good spot considering they've built that experience, and especially recent experience. Right now it's fresh in their memory. They were just in that ladder stage, and so now hopefully they'll be able to carry that same energy and continue to win this game. And it's going to be a little bit before we get into this match between these two teams, but it looks like Drizzy D are definitely going to be the favorites going into this. Although Tanker Noob, they only lost 1 match, so certainly anything can happen. Tanker Noob could easily be a dark horse pick in this.
Yeah, for sure. And just to elaborate a little bit more on what 1 Point League is and how this is all going to work, basically, 1 Point League, like Stein said, is the first ever Minecraft esports event where basically it's a bunch of 1.8 PvP minigames. Over the past 2 weeks, we've done a bridge qualifier, a turf war qualifier, and a Bed Wars qualifier. And today is Deathmatch. And these teams are trying to qualify for the league finals, which will take place at the end of July, where they will have the opportunity to compete for a $700 prize pool. So, like I said, we've done 4 amazing events, including this one. But next week, we're going to be doing our last chance qualifier. So, Stein, why don't you tell everyone about what those are?
So the last chance qualifiers, we're going to have 2 different events, and in each of those events, people are going to be able to vote on which of the 4 games that we have is going to be played again. And basically, in each of those qualifiers, 2 more teams are going to qualify for that final bracket. Now, guess what? The votes for those last chance qualifiers, they open tomorrow. So you can go on Twitter tomorrow at 1PL event and see and vote for yourself on which games you think should be played in those last chance qualifiers. Should it be Bridge? Should it be Bed Wars? Should it be Turf Wars? Should it be Deathmatch? It really comes down to whatever you guys vote on. So looks like we're getting closer to the match starting. Drizzy D with their captain Aventre, Tanker Noob with their captain Ishu. I think that I'm gonna call it Ishu. If that's wrong, I'm sorry. Anyway, um, so um, it's going to be interesting to see because since Deathmatch is a new game, it's going to be. I'm curious to see if momentum is going to be like a large player in this. Like if the team that wins the first match is going to be able to easily carry on to win the second match, or if there's going to be a bunch more like unpredictability and maybe the team that loses at first could end up coming back. I'm not sure how that's going to play out. Mystery, do you have any thoughts on that?
I mean, if I had to guess, I would go with that it's going to be pretty unpredictable, and we might see some very even fights because obviously this game has not been played much before. Today was the first time that any of these players played it. So I'm guessing that none of the teams, even with Drizzy D having the perfect 7 in the record so far, I'm guessing none of the teams have a solid strategy in mind that they're 100% set on. They're going to be switching it up as they play in this very intense bracket and just trying to figure out what'll work, what won't work. And as the games go along, your strategies might change a bit, and we can see some ridiculous comebacks maybe.
Yeah, and although I'm also a little bit worried for these teams because if you think about it, Deathmatch is this brand new game, and in the other games that are in this event, players will have had much more experience in those specific games. So it might be concerning for the teams that end up qualifying from the Deathmatch qualifier. We might end up seeing them struggle in that final bracket because of their lack of familiarity with the other games. Although Deathmatch does have a lot of general skills that can apply to those other games. So I think we'll be looking at these Deathmatch qualifying teams. We're going to be looking at them as being kind of jack of all trades teams, where they're not going to be terrible at any one game, but rather good generally at
I mean, I feel like between Drizzy D and Tanker Noob, if one team were to have the advantage in the league finals, I feel like it would be Drizzy D because their team captain is Aventre, who played in one of the previous qualifiers, so maybe that'll help them out here. But it looks like we're gonna go straight into the game right now.
Yeah, it looks like we are already in the game, and it looks like the red team, who I believe is Jersey D, although I could be wrong. It looks like one of them took control of the top just for a second, but fell back down. But no, it looks like red seems to be focusing pretty hard on taking control of that top layer, and the blue team, although the blue team seems to have that second to top layer, so it's going to be interesting to see how important it is to take that top layer. Um, we're going to see if that ends up being a really advantageous positioning spot. But it looks like red really is so focused on that top little row there, standing on that emerald block, trying not to get knocked off, but they do get knocked off, and it looks like it's just kind of going back and forth. Although blue definitely seems to be more focused on that second to top layer, and red is focused on the very top layer.
Yeah,
So
I
I
mean,
wonder which strategy is going to work there.
yeah, and here's the thing. Keep in mind, this game is all about getting to the Emerald block because by sitting on the Emerald block, you will be gaining points for your team, and the first team to score 1,000 points will win the round. So the important thing is to stay up there, and if you're up there, your teammates are probably going to be defending you, which might be why we see so many people sort of sticking to the lower grounds, trying to keep people from advancing even further. But that blue player from Tanker Noob, who is just up there, has been knocked off. So right now it seems very even, very back and forth. Tanker Noob barely has that much of a lead right now.
Yeah, no, because it looks, yeah. So red team is definitely focusing on the emerald block, which looks like just like the biggest load of points. And if they can stay on that emerald block for a while, it's going to be a huge advantage for them. But at the same time, they are getting knocked off frequently because being on that emerald block makes you a big target. But it looks like blue finally stood on the emerald block for a second, got quickly knocked off. That emerald block is such a vulnerable position, but it can be so valuable when it comes to points.
And it looks like they're just taking turns climbing all the way up and getting shot off. It really seems like both teams are sort of just trying to send one person up and have everyone else defend. But when it's happening, what it's causing is basically just massive fights on the lower ground, which means basically it's just going to be a very even match the whole way across. Like Drizzy did just gain a bunch of points right there. They only just barely took the lead right there. It's very close right now, and this one could come down to the wire, like especially for round one.
Yeah, this is a game that easily goes back and forth constantly because of people getting knocked off of that emerald block. Um, Blue almost made it up, did not quite make it up there. And so, yeah, blue seems to be struggling a little bit more on that top layer, but they are definitely in this game. In fact, they have the lead currently, and because it looks like they might be focusing more on those lower layers, even though it's smaller amount of points, they might be more reliable. And so, the red team focusing on the emerald block might actually be a mistake. We're gonna have to see how it plays out.
I mean, it looks like Drizzy D is starting to do a pretty good job of holding the higher ground here, keeping Tanker Noob players away. Although, as I said, that Tanker Noob does get a kill to regain control of the Emerald, so maybe I spoke too soon, but we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, it looks like Drizzy D is trying to like really turn a momentum and just get a bunch of kills whilst on the upper layers.
Yeah, Tanker Noob getting tons of points right now. It looks like they're building
Ooh.
a larger and larger lead. They do get knocked off, but it looks like they have almost double the points that, in fact, that looks like even more than double the points that red team has right now. Tanker Noob taking a very big statement of a lead right here. And
And
it
they just
looks
got a
like Drizzy
clean,
D.
yeah, they just got a clean free kills. They have full control right now. Although the player does get shot off, but they are still very much alive. Tanker Noob, or excuse me, Drizzy D is really gonna have to change some sort of part of their strategy if they want to make a comeback in this round one.
Drizzy D is on the ropes right now. They have to figure something out if they want to win this round right here, because right now they are in big trouble. Tanker Noob has been dominating.
I mean, it looks like for a second there they were trying to make the fight up top more even, but two of them go down with only one player still up there. But it doesn't really matter too much because, oh, I spoke too soon. I was going to say Tanker Noob was still controlling it, but they have been hit down. But it looks like it's going to climb back up. Like, it really seems like Tanker Noob has found their footing here, and they're just trying to hold it. Although it is getting kind of close right now. Can Drizzy D make the comeback here?
It was so close for so long, and then all of a sudden, Tanker Noob just shot ahead. Although Drizzy D might be making a little bit of a comeback. They got an emerald block for a little bit there. Um, oh, it's just that they're continuing to fight. Nobody's really getting points right now, and that's good for Tanker Noob because if neither team's getting points, that means Tanker Noob just retains their huge lead. Drizzy D needs to make something happen kind of offensively to try to make that comeback, but Tanker Noob still has control of that point, and it looks like they're going to be getting to 1,000 quite soon unless they get knocked off. They do get knocked off, but they have that great positioning. Tanker Noob just dominating this positioning fight.
I mean,
They're already at over 900. They're almost there.
I think what it really comes down to is the fact that Tanker Noob started off the round by sending everyone into fight. Oh, and there it is. Tanker Noob has taken round one. Wow. But yeah, I think what that round came down to was at the beginning, all three players on both teams were just trying to run at each other, take fights. But then Tanker Noob, once they started to gain control of middle, they just had one player purely focus on being on the Emerald, and the other two players purely focus on going for fights. And they did an amazing job of controlling the upper layers in that situation. So Drizzy D was just not able to do that much. And when they did send players up there, it got pretty close, but Taker Noob just built up so much momentum that it didn't matter. They won the round.
It was very interesting. It looks like momentum is going to be playing a big role within each individual round. That being said, Drizzy and Tinker Noob were really neck and neck for the first like half of that. It looks like they were just alternating points constantly back and forth. It was really close for a long way through. So we might see shifts in momentum in that sense, where at the beginning of the round, a different team could take control, and then that other team will then build their own lead and end up winning that round. So Drizzy D could easily turn this around, like because if they just win that exchange at the beginning, they might be in a really good spot.
Yeah, and if I had to guess, something we'll probably see from a lot of teams today, if and they're in a losing situation where they really need to make a comeback, I feel like we'll see a lot more desperation than we might see with some other mini games. Because keep in mind, a lot of other mini games, when it comes to scoring points or taking leads or things like that, it's just if you do something, you usually get 1 point or you usually get one advantage, something like that. With this game, if you're sitting on the emerald block, you're getting a lot of points and you need to be stopped immediately. If you need to stop immediately if you want to have a chance of staying alive. So I feel like we're just going to see a lot more desperation from players here. But yeah, it looks like we're going to go straight into round two in just a few seconds. It's going to be interesting to see what can Drizzy do change here to tie the series 1-1. Because if they lose this round, they are eliminated and will not be advancing to the league finals.
Yeah, Drizzy D needs to turn this around. So let's see what they do differently, or if they do anything differently. And it looks like Tanker Noob is already taking control of that top area. Tanker Noob getting amazing positioning right off of Rip, and Drizzy D is already in big trouble. This could be it for them if they're not able to recover for this.
I mean, I think all it is they like your strategy last round you're doing again. Send one person straight up, have them solely focus on the emerald. Send two people onto the other layers, have them solely focus on PvP.
Yeah, it looks like that strategy is just what seems to be working out as of now. And but it looks like Drizzy D is starting to win some fights, getting some positioning. They are up on the emerald block now, and they have taken a small lead. So this is what we were saying, like it's back and forth at the beginning. So if Drizzy D can end up jumping out into a lead, they could just take this. This could be huge for them.
And right now, it really just seems like Drizzy D saw Tech New strategy and said, yeah, we can do that because they're doing the same thing. I think they might have dropped down, but they had one player up there for quite a bit, just holding it while the other players just went for kills. It didn't last too long, but they have taken the lead. So maybe Drizzy D, this could be their comeback right here as Tanker Noob player gets shot off right there.
Yeah, once again, it's just back and forth at the beginning. It is quite close. Drizzy D does have a small lead. and that is what they need. They need to keep that lead, and they can't let Tanker Noob get up there like they're doing now. And Jersey just needs to hold this, and it looks like we're having a meta really develop for this game. It looks like people can kind of split into their roles of like who's going to be the one to go up to the top, to that top emerald block and try to control that, and who are going to be the ones focusing on PvP.
And I think part of the reason this run is so close is because both of these teams have sort of discovered that strategy. And when you just put them in 2v2 situations where you have other players focusing on the emerald block, it just makes it such even fights because both these players are like pretty evenly skilled, which is, how they both sort of got into the top four. But yeah, all the fights just going to be pretty even. And it's just going to be a matter of which team can get the breakaway first and take this round. Last round it was Tanker New, but Drizzy D has been off to a hot start. So can they keep that up?
Yeah, Drizzy D does have a lead, but that's still not a safe lead in the slightest. Like, this is definitely a comeback that can be made by Tanker Noob, although Drizzy D is getting more points now. I noticed a strategy that Tanker Noob was doing a little bit earlier. One of them was about to get up onto the emerald block, but they noticed a red player coming up behind them, and so they dropped down, sacrificing some time on the emerald block just to make sure the red player couldn't get up there. That could be certainly a common strategy that we see develop a lot.
Yeah, and I think when you think about it, there's so many different mechanics to this game because part of it is just fighting, part of it is dealing knockback, part of it is spleefing. And I think one of the things I took advantage there was just knowing, hey, this is a game of knockback. Who cares if I miss out on a few points here? I can just hit them off and I know it'll work out. So it seems like the players are really starting to understand this game and its strategies, and it's going to be very interesting to see just like how hard it can go with this.
Yeah, a lot of it comes down to not tunnel visioning on the one specific goal of just being on that top block. But it looks like Drizzy D has taken a big lead, and it looks like we might be seeing them win this round, considering they're already over 900. They have less than 100 points to go. 980. They're almost
Ooh,
there.
get
They
down,
just
knock
need a little
down.
bit more. A little bit more.
One of them is going up.
Tanker
Tanker
Noob
Noob is
needs a
trying to stop it. Oh no,
massive
no,
comeback.
Tanker Noob is going up. Oh my god.
Tanker Noob needs a massive comeback if they want to pull this off. They need to be up there constantly. Looks like one of them's up there, but they get knocked off. If Drizzy D just gets... They get it. And Drizzy D has tied things up. Looks like we're going into our final round 3.
Wow, that's crazy. And just like I said, it's going to be a thing with this game of deathmatch of just teams switching up strategies as much as they can because without the proper experience for this game, they don't quite know what they need to do to win. So as they're going on, they're figuring out what's going to work, what isn't going to work. And right there, Drizzy D took Tanker Noob strategy and said, I think that'll work. And they used it to their advantage. They've now tied it up 1-1. They are no longer facing elimination because they have the chance right now to get the win and advance to the league finals.
And what I've noticed so far is in both games, the losing team has had between like 300 and 400 points, somewhere in that range. So it's really what we've been saying is that at the first half of the game about is really back and forth. But then as soon as you get to about like 200, 300, one of the teams just starts taking off and getting that huge lead. That's what we've seen in both of the first 2 games so far. And it'll be interesting to see if we ever end up getting games where the losing team gets up to like 700, 800, and we get like a closer game. But so far, this is neck and neck between these 2 teams. It all comes down to this last round.
Yeah, and I think what this really comes down to is just having the momentum in your favor because, like I said, it starts off pretty close. Once you start to build up momentum, the pressure is no longer on you because in your mind, you know you're doing well. You know all you have to do is just keep that up and you'll win the rounds. You don't have to worry about playing risky, trying to go for kills that maybe you're not sure you can get, or just like trying to make a push to the emerald block when maybe you can very easily die. You're just focused on trying to maintain that lead. So really, I think whichever team starts to build momentum first has a huge advantage in these games.
Yeah, and but that momentum can be a little bit hard to build at the beginning, as we've seen, because it's been so
Mm,
back and forth. And so it's whoever gets that big break first, it seems like, is the one that gets like the big lead and ends up winning. But that trend might change. That this is still a new game. The meta's still developing. So
yeah.
what we've seen so far might not be true in literally just a few games from now. Um, so right now, it looks like Tanker Noob has a little bit of a lead. It looks like Tanker Noob has that positioning advantage so far. They've been the ones getting to the top there. They're knocking off the Drizzy D players. Yeah, Tanker Noob definitely has the advantage here. Drizzy D hasn't gotten any points so far. Tanker Noob at over 100. So yeah, Tanker Noob definitely has this advantage so far, and we'll see if they're able to carry it. The back and forth is no longer happening, it looks like, at the beginning, because it looks like Tanker Noob is just shooting out to a massive lead. This would be incredible if they're able to like 1,000-0 this game. Imagine 1,000-0 if Tanker Noob could pull something like that off. Drizzy
Yeah,
D looks like might be getting closer though to that emerald block.
Yeah, I mean, I think what it is like in the first round, Tanker Noob probably felt really confident. And if I had to guess, that second round was kind of like a wake up call to them because exactly what they did to Drizzy D in round one happened to them in round two. And they realized that they're going to have to just play for their lives if they want to advance. And right now, it looks like that mentality is sort of working out because they're about to reach a 500-0 lead within a minute of the game starting.
500-0. Tanker Noob definitely seems to be playing more desperate in this round, or at least that's what it seems. And so Drizzy D is going to need to recover from this. Tanker Noob has 650-0 right now. Drizzy D needs to change something. Something has to happen. Can Drizzy D get points? No, they can't. They get knocked off. Oh my god, Tanker Noob has such a huge lead. They're controlling that like the gold layer right now, and that's just allowing them to dominate here. Oh my god, Tanker Noob is getting more and more points. Drizzy D cannot do anything, although they might be swarming right here. Drizzy D
Yeah, their
looks like
defense
they're
kind of let down. Their
on
Tanker
an island.
Noob is no longer in
Drizzy D gets
control. Drizzy,
points.
yeah, Drizzy D is
They're on
up
the
there.
board. They're on the board.
They're on the board.
Oh my god, imagine the comeback. Imagine if a comeback happens. If Drizzy D could get this comeback, this would be the sickest thing ever. Oh my god. Drizzy D finally getting some points going. And if they're able to build some momentum, that could be huge. But it looks like Tanker Noob wins that fight. And
Yeah, and it really looks like this strategy of just going for one. Yeah, it really just looks like the strategy of just having one person focus on mid and the others defend. It no longer seems to be too relevant as both teams, as it's starting to even out a little bit, trying to play really desperate. But Taker Noob is back in driving seat. Oh, they're very close to winning it. Can they make a stop? They get shot off. This is Drizzy D's last chance to win the round as one Taker Noob is going back up.
Drizzy D needs to be desperate here. Oh my god, 10 points away. It looks like Tanker Noob's going to take this unless a miracle happens. Tanker Noob wins the fight, and that will do it. Tanker Noob moves on and will win this matchup of Deathmatch. That was so
Wow.
interesting. It was interesting. We're kind of seeing the meta for this game kind of evolve before our eyes, like right in front of us. We're seeing the biggest strategies kind of developing in front of us. And hey, if you want to see these strategies developing even more, if you want this game to become more prominent, you can vote on Twitter tomorrow and have this game be one of the 2 last chance qualifier games. So there'll be a whole nother qualifier of this. More teams can try it out. More teams can find new, interesting strategies and just develop this game even more.
Yeah, and also, if you look into Twitch chat, the link to our Twitter is right there. Just click on it, follow it. It's that simple.
Yeah, so Tanker Noob ended up winning, but there was definitely a bumpy road along the way as Drizzy D did take one of those rounds. So, Tanker Noob seems to be good at kind of playing desperate when they need to, and we'll see if they have those kind of clutch genes that might end up being very instrumental in later matches that they end up in.
Yeah, and it was just kind of crazy to see unfold because it really seemed like once you had momentum, you were good to go. You were sailing and you were able to carry that to victory, basically. But it seems like the team that was in the desperation situation was also able to do an amazing job of just tunnel visioning on being able to make the comeback because round one, Tanker Noob basically swept. Round two, Drizzy D had just gone and swept, and then they basically swept. And in round three, went back to Tanker Noob. Like it was just a lot of plays based on desperation, a lot of plays reacting to momentum shifts, and it was just crazy the way it unfolded.
Yeah, and it looks like as we wait for our next match, I think oh, okay. So we're about to go to our next match, and we are going to look at the teams right here. Looks like our first team is the Arcane Purple. Mystery, tell us about them.
So they have the trapdoor, I believe that says Krabby, Orgo Punch, Orange Chicken, and Landed Legends. Apologies if I pronounce any of these names wrong. But yeah, the Arcane Purple is one of the teams that we saw in one of our previous qualifiers. I believe they were in the Bridge qualifier. Unfortunately, they did not advance to the league finals, but they are still allowed to play in other ones since they did not advance. So this is another chance for them to advance. And during the open bracket, they played they went 5-4. So they were one of the more experienced teams going into this, but barely above half their wins there. So it's going to be interesting to see how they hold up. But it looks like our next team is going to be Reginald and the Tummy Rumblers, which once again I think might be the favorite team name. But we have Epic Archer, Blobity, I think, Slade V6, Exutonio, and Andrews. Once again, apologies if the names are pronounced wrong. But yeah, this team went 6-6 in the ladder bracket. So once again, have played a lot of games, but once again, sort of similar to Dark and Purple in the sense that they only won around half of their games. So both of these teams have probably had a pretty decent amount of time to see what has worked, see what has not worked for strategy. So it's gonna be really interesting to see what kind of strategies they go into this with.
Yeah, with both teams having like a relatively even record, like they both have opportunities to learn from their mistakes as well as see what works when they do win. And so these teams might have learned quite a bit in the time that they've spent playing in that latter stage. And so that knowledge and experience might be very instrumental for either team in coming away with the win. So Arcane versus Tummy Rumblers, we are going to see who will come out on top in just a few seconds here. We are going to be getting into this game. Also, Mystery, I believe that person is named Scrabble. That's how I'm reading.
Scrabble. That makes a lot more sense.
They're more than crabby,
A
yeah.
bit more than crappy.
All right, let's get into the game. It looks like we have both teams immediately trying to take control of that mid. Obviously, that's the goal of the game. But it looks like red team, who I believe is that Arcane
The Arcane
Purple?
Purple.
Yeah,
That is the
okay.
Arcane Purple.
All right, red team is Arcane. So Arcane is already taking control of mid here. They're getting off to a hot start, already at about 100 points. Already a tenth of the way there, gets knocked off, but they have that early lead that they can hopefully build off of. Tummy Rumblers not making a whole lot of noise so far, although one of them does just get a kill there, and Tummy Rumblers could be taking the point. No, gets knocked off. Oh, looks like the only noise coming from Tummy Rumblers is in the tummies. That was a
Wow.
terrible line. Um, that was a terrible line. But it looks like Arcane is not actually at mid yet. It looks like Tummy Rumblers finally getting some points on the board. Gets about 50. Arcane Purple though at almost 100 ahead. So Tummy Rumblers looking like they're making a comeback a little bit. Once again, we're having that kind of close back and forth at the beginning of the game. Tummy Rumblers taking their first lead of the round. And now they're at 200, but this is not a safe lead in the slightest. It's still very, very close. Arcane could easily come back. So Arcane, Arcane getting some points now. They take back the lead, and looks like they have now building kind of a decent lead here. Tummy Rumblers right on their tails, but gets knocked off. Oh my god, Arcane is getting a decent lead. They're almost 200 ahead now. That is huge. And they're getting up there again. They're getting up to the Emerald again. They're getting more points. And they're almost at 500 now. They almost get to 500. That's almost a 300-point lead. And it looks like Tummy Rumblers need to find a way to turn this around because Arcane is just going insane right now.
Yeah, and I feel like we're really seeing such a difference in strategies now because at the beginning of the round, it was actually Tummy Rumblers who were getting a bunch of kills, but they were not really able to get too many points. And now that the Arcane Purple has started to get a lot of points, they've been able to get most of the kills and turn the momentum into their favor. So I think it really comes to show that maybe coming into this, the Tummy Rumblers, their strategy was more so focused on getting kills, being able to take out the opponent, whereas the Arcane Purple had more focus on going for mid. And so far, it seems like that is what is paying off for them, as they have taken a pretty huge lead to start off this round, and it only seems to be growing right now.
Arcane taking full advantage of the momentum here, and it looks like they're getting pretty darn close to that lucrative 1,000-point threshold to get that win. That they just have all the momentum right now. They're just sitting at the top, uncontested. Nobody's able to do anything right now. Tummy Rumblers does knock them off briefly. We will see how much of a momentum shift that can be, though. Tummy Rumblers looks like they are getting close to the point there. Gets knocked off. That's going to be no good. Arcane Purple does need to close out here. This could be a big choke if they're not able to finish the job. Tummy Rumblers. Uh-oh.
All right, it looks like we're having some technical difficulties, so we're gonna put a pause on the round for now. Yeah, we're gonna take a quick. Oh, well, my bad. Okay, so it appears the round has actually ended. We weren't quite able to see the score there, but the Arcane Purple, after building up that huge lead, was able to keep on going, and they have won the round, taking a 1-0 lead in the series.
All right, and now Tummy Rumblers is in that unenviable position of having to find a way to counter what Arcane did, find a way to turn this around. We'll see what their captain, Epic Archer, is going to be doing, and hopefully giving the team a little pep talk, hopefully thinking of some different strategies that they could try out because they are one round away from elimination at this point.
Yeah, and talking about strategies, I really just wonder if the tummy rumblers are going to try and make more of a focus on going for the middle because once again, they were doing a pretty good job in the PvP. They got a lot of kills, especially at the beginning. But really, the difference maker there was that the Arcane Purple had more of a focus on taking control of mid. Once they had control of mid, it just couldn't be stopped. It's how they built up so many points. That's how they started to get so many kills. So I think for tummy rumblers, the biggest thing they need to do right now is just focus more on mid than anything else.
Yeah, so Arcane Purple, Tummy Rumblers, Arcane with that lead, and we're just about to get into our next round here where Arcane will have the chance to fully close out the match and move on in our tournament. And yeah, so we're about to get into this next match, and Tummy Rumblers, you guys are in the spotlight. You guys need to come up with something. Let's see what you can pull off here as we get into this next round.
All right, here we go. Here we go. All right, it
So,
looks. Oh yeah, you kill server. Sorry.
oh, I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, so Arcane Purple is trying to get up top, but it looks like Tummy Rumblers is doing a much better job at fending them off here. And it looks like Tummy Rumblers is going to get the first significant lead, although Arcane did get 20 points at the beginning there. But Tummy Rumblers getting a more than 100-point lead here. Arcane Purple trying to bring it back, though. Looks like they're at the block. It looks like we have another back and forth here at the beginning. So no significant leads so far, although Arcane does get knocked off. So it is very much a back and forth, although Arcane with a 50-point lead as of now. Tummy Rumblers looking like they have decent positioning right now. They're getting some points. They take back the lead. Let's see how much they can build on this and potentially win the round, because they definitely need to win the round. But it looks like they're starting to struggle a little bit. They have a 100-point lead, exactly 100 right now. Arcane needs to recover if they want to take this. Looks like Tummy Rumbler is having much better positioning so far. They're winning that positioning fight. Looks like they're using the knockback that they have very effectively, and they're managing to get Arcane Purple out of position. Although, as I say that, Arcane now back up top at the block. They might take back the lead. Not quite. They don't quite take back the lead. Tummy Rumblers back in, looks like an advantageous position here. Tummy Rumblers up at the point, extending their lead only a little bit, though. Let's see how much they're able to extend it before they get knocked off significantly. Arcane trying to get up there to challenge them. It looks like Tummy Rumblers has 423. That's like about a 150-point lead, looks like. But Arcane is bringing it back a little bit, gets knocked off. It looks like a little bit of a back and forth still, but Tummy Rumblers with that little advantage so far.
Yeah, and it really seems like Tummy Rumblers did sort of change up their strategy, using the strategy we saw in the last game where you sort of have one person try to focus on going for mid and the other two people focus on going for kills. And obviously it does seem to be working. However, I feel like it's a little more close to Rapper than it was in the previous rounds where we saw teams using that strategy. So maybe this team is going to be even more close, and maybe we do need to see Tummy Rumblers put even more pressure on middle. But they do have the lead right now, so maybe this is what they need to do, because once again, this is their only chance to tie things up and force the game free in order to get into the league finals.
This is definitely a closer round than the last round so far, but it looks like Tummy Rumblers are getting a little bit of a significant lead here. It's not a safe lead per se, but it's definitely something to work off of. So right now they have over a 200-point lead, and that is something that they need to definitely use to build off of, try to get some momentum going. And if they can do that, which it looks like they are, they're getting more points now, they could end up with this win and tie things up. So they definitely need this win, but it looks like they're doing pretty well. It looks like they've gotten kind of desperate, and they are playing accordingly. It's been quite a while since Arcane has gotten any points. They're still sitting at 300, while Tummy Rumblers are almost at 700 already.
Yeah, the Tummy Rumblers, I cannot pronounce the name, have just done an amazing job of starting to control the upper layers, keeping Arcane Purple off. It really seems like Arcane Purple just doesn't know how to go about getting back up there and trying to go for kills right now, which is why the Tummy Rumblers are able to just keep on gaining points. And if Arcane Purple wants to just end this right here and move on to the League Finals, they're going to have to find a way to get up, which they are doing. This could be a change of momentum right here, but they do fall down. Let's see how this one plays out.
971, just 30 points away for Tummy Rumblers to secure this, but Arcane is getting up, not quite, trying to get some good positioning. Tummy Rumblers just needs a little bit more. They just need to close it out. That's all they need to do, but it looks like they're struggling to do that so far. if Arcane can bring this back, it would be massive. But Tummy Rumblers looks like they might be taking this as long as they can close it out. Looks like they're getting a little bit of points here, and that will do it. Tummy Rumblers has tied it up. We are going to our final tiebreaker round.
Yeah, what a round by them. Once again, we see the team that had lost the first round tie it back up. And once again, I really think it just comes down to the lack of experience with this game because no one has a solidified strategy so far. So it's just adapt and see what you can do. And so far, it just seems like both teams did an amazing job.
All right, so with that, no, it looks like that was not tight. No, it looks like Arcane has fully moved on. And so with Arcane securing that position, looks like we are going to be ending stream pretty soon. However, do remember tomorrow, check Twitter at 1PL event, answer those polls. To see which games are going to be played in our last chance qualifiers. You can vote for Deathmatch if you want to see this meta evolve even more. You can vote for Bridge, Bed Wars, or Turf Wars if those are games that you enjoy and you want to see more people do well in those games. So with that, there is just one more thing that I would like to say. If you are looking for more Minecraft content outside of the weekends, we have just a thing for you. You can tune in on Monday, July 10th at 14 o'clock CET in military time for MCMC live from Paris, France, with 8 of your favorite and best speedrunners will go head to head for an entire afternoon to compete for the MCMC trophy at Espot at Espot Paris. Is that how you say it? You can still buy tickets to view in person at Espot's website, or you can watch live at twitch.tv/AntoLNE. MCMC hopes to see you there. And
Once again, just a quick reminder, if you follow the Twitter, which the link is in chat, can be notified for tomorrow's polls, where once again, you can vote on the next last chance qualifiers that will be played, because once again, that'll be the last chance to qualify for the league finals at the end of the month. So be sure to get on that. Just like that, I think we're going to be wrapping up today's. Oh, I'm not sure we're going to be wrapping up today's stream actually, but yeah. And also while you're here, be sure to join our Discord. I believe the link for that is 1pl.live/Discord. There is where you'll be able to sign up for the qualifiers. So once they've been voted for, that's where you're going to be signing up. So just join that and you'll be able to sign up. And also just be sure to follow us on Twitch with notifications. That way you can be notified when we're going live and doing some commentary for these events.
Yeah, so just to clarify, we're not necessarily ending stream just yet. We are working out a little bit of stuff within the staff team just to see what's going on with that last match that we were talking about.
It looks like we're at, yeah, so it actually is 1-1. We can confirm that the Tummy Rumblers did win that game. So yeah, it is 1-1. We apologize for all the confusion. We're going to play the game free, where basically whichever team wins this is going to move on to the league final. And we're at the end of the month. They will be able to compete for $700, and the loser will unfortunately be eliminated from this qualifier. So we're going to get used to that match as soon as we can. Once again, we apologize for all of the confusion, but it is 1-1. We're going to see a game free to determine it all.
All right, let's see this game 3. Let's see which team is actually going to secure it. This is win or go home for both teams, although each team could still have a chance in the last chance qualifiers. So we will see what happens, but this is to secure a spot in our final bracket at the end of the month. So a lot on the line here because they are competing for that $700 starting prize pool. Let's see which team is going to move on to the final bracket. Arcane, Purple, or Tummy Rumblers. Let's see what happens.
I
Let's
mean, I
see
said
what
that Tummy
happens
Lumbers had the
as
best name, but I cannot seem to pronounce it. So my take is maybe they don't have the best name. That's my prediction.
Arcane Purple is definitely a simpler name, a little bit shorter name.
Yeah.
So yeah,
But in
we'll
terms
see.
of
We'll
what
see who
we
has the
might
superior
actually, yeah,
name.
in terms of what we might actually see this round, it's going to be interesting to see how these teams sort of like adapt to what's happened. Because keep in mind, last round, the team that won the first round lost the second round, but then they like in a major way came back in the third round. So maybe Dark and Purple can bring it back here. But Tommy Rumber's got a lot of momentum in their favor right now.
All right, and it looks like we have Arcane Purple taking the first points of the round. They are already at 50, getting up to 100. It looks like they're already at 100, so that's a little bit of a lead for them to build off of. That could be the momentum right there. Although it looks like Tummy Rumblers has the better positioning right now and could be racking up some points of their own.
I mean, yeah, they just got a bunch of kills to start off with, and they're already taking advantage. It seems like what they did last one is continuing to work because they just have the advantage right now.
Yeah, and so Tummy Rollers managed to get some points on the board, not too many though. And right now, both teams are just competing for positioning. Tummy Rumblers has a little bit better positioning, but not by that much. But it looks like one of them is getting close to the top, gets knocked down. Both teams fighting back and forth for positioning. Nobody has been able to get some points for a little bit. Right, basically the two teams are tied right now, basically neck and neck. Tummy Rumblers taking a little bit of a lead, tiny lead, but gets knocked off. Um, both teams really going neck and neck at first here. Both teams seem to be very desperate to try to move on. Tummy Rumblers getting a little like 50-point lead or so, but nothing too substantial yet. Still so back and forth. This could go either way for either team.
Yeah, and it really just seems like both teams, both the Time Members and Arcane Purple, have started to adapt to the strat of one person going for mid. And I think both teams just are well aware of the stakes right now because once again, only the winner of this game is going to be able to have a chance to compete for $700. So I feel like there's just a lot of pressure on these teams, which is why they're keeping it so close. But like we saw earlier, it seems to be it stays close at first, and then one team breaks away. Both teams still have the shot to break away right now.
Yeah, both teams going neck and neck. Nobody scored for so long. Both teams seem to be really focused on just out PvPing the others, and uh, maybe not as focused on points, but it looks like Tummy Rumblers gets a decent lead there. They're now at like a 150-point lead. Arcane Purple coming back, though, with points of their own. There's two of them up at the Emerald block, one of them defending. And it looks like that's able to buy them a little bit more time, and they managed to take back the lead. Arcane getting now a decent lead, over 100 now. Looks like Arcane's over at 400 total. And it looks like they're building up the momentum here. It seemed like Arcane was building momentum for a little bit, or Tummy Rumblers was building momentum for a little bit, but Arcane has just taken it back. Arcane now having a substantial lead of over 150.
Yeah, and talk about it being back and forth because when we started to see Tommy Rumbers break away there, they were getting a lot of points, but then all of a sudden, basically at the same time, all three of them went down. The Arcane Purple just took advantage of that, and they have not slowed down. They're about to reach 500 points, but it looks like the Tommy Rumbers might have something to say about it right now.
Yeah, Tummy Rumblers definitely need to make something happen here. They are in a desperate situation, as both teams are, but Tummy Rumblers being behind, really trying to get some points on the board. Still behind by almost 200 points. So it's going to be a big struggle if they want to bring this back and end up winning the match. Right now, Arcane definitely seems to have this momentum. They're over 500 at this point. So we'll see if they can build on that, or if Tummy Rumblers can find a way to turn it around.
Man, right now, it still kind of feels like Tommy Rumbers are playing as if they are still in it because they don't seem as focused on going from it as they maybe could. They feel like I think their thought process right now is that they've been playing pretty well. They can continue to play pretty well, and they're just going to focus on doing what they know. And point wise, it doesn't seem to be working out because once again, they are down by a good amount right now, but it's not like it's over. Red team's still like 500 points away from winning, so blue team has a chance here to clutch it up. And ooh, one of them got so closer but gets knocked down.
Both teams fighting back and forth for positioning. There was one moment where one of the Arcane players held off like all of the Tummy Rumblers while their teammates went up, but it didn't even result in any points. Now Arcane is getting points a little bit, but there's a large presence from Tummy Rumblers here, ready to knock them off at any given moment, which they do. Um, and Tummy Rumblers looking to make a comeback here, but it looks like Arcane is doing a really good job at holding Tummy Rumblers off of that iron layer. It looks like Tummy Rumblers is like frequently stuck on that last layer, or on that bottom layer, or maybe the second to bottom layer. Tummy Rumble is really struggling to get up to that good positioning, although one of them does manage to get some points. Looks like that positioning is improving, but it's one player at a time. They're never able to get up there in groups, at least not as of recent. And so, although one of them does stay on the point for quite a long time and gets a decent amount of points, gets up to 400, but that's not going to be enough. They need more than that. They need to get multiple players up there at the same time if they want to get good positioning and get like a large number of points,
Yeah, this is
which
what
is
we
what
saw
the Arcane
happen
have
with the,
done.
this is what we saw happen with the Tommy Lumbers in round one. They can do as well as they like. You can get all of the kills, but it doesn't matter unless you're getting points. It just anything to do just doesn't matter. It's that simple. You need to get
And
points here.
Arcane getting close to the 1,000-point mark. They're already at 900, uncontested at mid currently, and Tummy Rumblers gets a desperate bow shot, but Another Arcane player was there. Look at that. There were two of them up there at the point at the same time. When one of them got knocked off, the other one just jumped right back up and secured the match for Arcane. And Arcane will be moving on.
Wow, what a game by them. And yeah, it was just in both games that we saw today, it was just the same thing. One team wins the first round, they've got a lot of momentum. The other team finds a way to adapt and comes back, and it's evened out. And at that point, it's anyone's game. And one of the teams was able to take a huge lead, and that's how both these games ended. So, congratulations to the Arcane Purple for advancing to the league finals. Where once again, at the end of the month, they're gonna have the opportunity to compete against a bunch of other teams to win a $700 prize pool. So yeah, huge congratulations to them.
We have our two teams moving on from the deathmatch qualifier, and they will return on the final weekend of July for that final bracket. So, with that, looks like we are now going to be wrapping up the stream.
And
Make
for
sure
real
to
this
check
time.
out our Twitter tomorrow at 1 PL event. Links in chat where you can vote on which games will be played next weekend, which games are going to return, and which games more teams can have a go at to qualify. So, that's it. Check Twitter tomorrow, and it looks like we will be wrapping up the stream now.
Yeah. And also while you're here, be sure to join our Discord. The link is 1pl.live/Discord. There is where you're gonna be able to find the links so you can register for the last chance qualifiers once this has been decided. So if you want to plan the events next weekend, Discord is the place to be. So be sure to join that. And also follow us on Twitch notifications. That way, if you're just planning on watching events, you'll know when we're going live and when we're gonna be doing some commentary. So yeah.
All right. Looks like that's it for this stream. We will see you guys next weekend for our last chance qualifiers. We don't know which games are going to be played there. If you want to reach us, my name is Steinbolf at Steinbolf on Twitter.
My name is Mystery. I'm around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And make sure to follow One Point League on all the platforms, Twitter, Twitch. You can join our Discord. There's a lot of ways to keep up to date with what is going on over here. So with that, that's the stream. We'll see you guys next weekend.
Have a great day, everyone.